And you are welcome to today's session. Well, so we're talking about self accountability, and it's going to be an amazing session. It's going to be in two parts because we're talking about self accountability and ownership. So, welcome. All right, no more music. Welcome. So, we're talking about self accountability and ownership, taking ownership of your own journey. So, it's a conversation on personal growth. I'll be sharing my own journey on personal growth. I'll be sharing the tools I really use. And tomorrow, most likely, I would share how to choose the books that you're reading for your personal growth. So, it's on self accountability and personal growth. Hopefully the Instagram link starts working and we can get started. Well, how are you doing? How have you been finding the session so far? Let me know where you're listening from. Let me know where you're listening from in the chat and we can get started. Awesome. So we've got this going on and it looks good. Fantastic. Welcome to day 24. I said day 21. This is what we're supposed to do on day 21, and I didn't update it, so day 24. The series is called Stock to Finish. In this series, what we've been looking at is this. We've been looking at how to help people finish the goals that they've started, how understanding yourself, understanding certain things help you complete the task that you've started. And the gist is this: people don't have issues setting goals. Setting goals is not the problem. Staying on track is the problem. Ensuring that you are consistent, ensuring you do what you say you will do. Those are the little things that prevent people from functioning properly. So, starting isn't a problem, but how do you stay on track? How do you finish what you've started? How do you ensure that the goals, the dreams that you have are not abandoned? That you don't go off track, but you are consistently improving yourself every day. You can join me on YouTube, you can join me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So I'm usually streaming to all these platforms. But someone said I need to do it on Instagram also. So that's why we are doing it on Instagram with this makeshift system because Instagram doesn't let you stream for other platforms. But back to the conversation, it's going to be on self accountability, personal growth, and taking ownership of your own journey. Most times when we don't succeed in the goals that we've set for ourselves, we blame every other person but the person staring back at us when we look at the mirror. So, this session is basically going to talk to you about how you can take accountability for your actions. I'll be sharing my own experience with everyone, and I believe that will be helpful because we need to ensure that we are on the right track and you'll be able to kind of take ownership of your journey. So, it's not just telling you take ownership, but I'll be showing you how and why you should take ownership for your own personal growth and journey. We talk about accountability a lot. Most people say they want accountability partners. So at the beginning of this, we're not talking about getting somebody externally to hold you accountable for your goals. Rather, we're focusing on the role you play. How do you hold yourself accountable for your goals, for your actions, for your inactions, for your successes, for your failures, for every single thing that has to do with your life? Taking ownership. So I'm not blaming anybody outside me. When you talk about efficacy, it's about controlling the things that you can control. So self accountability is about you understanding that there are certain things that you can control that no one else can, and you have to take ownership by yourself, no one else. So everything you want from an accountability partner, you should be that thing. I remember when I started doing prayer partners and accountability partners, one question I used to ask is, what do you want in an accountability partner? Oh, I want someone that listens. I want someone that is kind. I want someone that is patient. I want someone that will hold me accountable, that will remind me of my goals. People keep listing all the things they want from others. And the next question I asked is, are you these things to yourself? Are you accountable to your for your own actions? Are you accountable for every single thing that you are doing, or are you blaming others when things don't go right? What I want us to do at the end of this session is understand that although certain things will go wrong, but we need to know the role we play. For example, if I am building a website or I'm working with someone, rather than saying, oh, this is what you did that was wrong, and completely throwing the blame to someone else, I will say the things that I did that was wrong and I will learn from them. So it's not just a blame game or it's not about shame, but it's about personal growth. It's about ensuring that you are investing in your personal growth yourself. You are not outsourcing your personal growth. So many times we outsource our personal growth. We want every other person to do things for us. We've got people listening from different places. Wilson is in the building. Winnie is here. People are also listening on Facebook and Twitter and other places. So, personal growth, it's taking ownership of your growth. You're not outsourcing your growth to anybody. If I ask you a question, what are the areas in your life that you want to grow now as an individual? That if you and I are having this conversation in December 2023, I want you to write down or share with me in the chat the areas of your life that you want to grow. This is not about you saying, I wish. No, if time, money, skills were not an excuse, what are the areas in your life that you want to grow? Personal growth is about you first before any other person. It's about you understanding that based on who I am, these are the areas I want to grow. So let's start with personal growth first before we go to self accountability. The reason I am starting with personal growth before self accountability may be self explanatory, but I will tell you. Because in order for you to be accountable to for something, you need to actually have something to be accountable for. So you said this is where I want to grow, and then now you're now accountable for that thing. So I'll go all with the definition of personal growth given. It said it's the ongoing process of self improvement. Most people see personal growth as a destination. Oh, I've arrived here after school. Think about it. After primary school, secondary school, university, when you graduated from uni, you felt that the world, there's no more education, there's nothing, that was the end of it. But if you stopped growing, at the rate after your graduation, they gave you a certificate. That was the last day you invested in your personal growth. There's a problem because it's about continuous improvement. It's about developing maturity that you exist throughout your life. So the person you are in your 20s is different from the person you are in your 30s, and it's different from the person you will become in your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. So you are different, and so you are evolving. Your preferences change, certain things about you change, but you want to invest in your own personal growth. We don't outsource our personal growth. We take it in our hands and say, this is where I want to grow. This is where I want to mature. And when you're looking at your personal growth, you're not, when you do your audit, because it involves enhancing various aspects of your life, including your emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual well-being. So emotionally, I might say I want to be more emotionally intelligent. I want to be more assertive because I'm not 10 years ago, I wasn't as assertive as I am today. So I can say I want to be more assertive. Intellectually, I want to improve in these areas. You will come up with a list of where you want to grow, and then you can decide how, but these are the areas in my life that I need help. These are the areas in my life that I would need someone to support me on my journey, and I need to take responsibility for it. So sometimes for me, this is my story. My desire to grow was driven by self discovery and self awareness and personal fulfillment. I wanted to discover more of who I was. I have always been introverted and I never saw the joys or the strengths or the benefits of being an introvert. Now, when I took personal accountability for my growth and realized I wasn't going to depend on the school system. I wasn't going to be dependent on my organization to send me for a course. I wasn't going to depend on my degree. But I know myself better than any other person. And if I understand myself, I will now decide that, okay, this is who I am. Intellectually, this is where I am. Socially, I'm not a social animal. I'm an introvert. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert. That was something I realized, that there was nothing wrong with being an introvert. And I've decided to improve myself as an introvert. And now I'm better when it comes to public speaking. I always say there's self-awareness. Self-awareness is important, but we have to go beyond self-awareness. We have to take action. We have to accept what we've discovered about ourselves and then take action. But so we say self-awareness, self-acceptance, then self-action, because you are playing the role. So the conversation we're having from today and tomorrow, or maybe from now till we have the event on the 1st of July, is to prepare your mind for the role you will play. No one else is playing this role. You're playing this role actively, not passively. And you are ensuring that every single thing you do is positioning you to be the best version of yourself. So taking ownership of this. And The concept of personal growth encompasses several key elements. I talked about self awareness, and you can look at this from this perspective. They are these quizzes and tests and things that you can do to discover yourself. In 2014, I took the Strength Finder test, and that's one of the best Strength Finder tests I have ever taken. I always recommend it. It's the Gallup Strength Finder, and that Gallup Strength Finder made me realize that I was focusing more on my weaknesses than my strengths. So I was focusing more on the negative parts of being an introvert than the positive parts of being an introvert. For example, I'll use introversion as an example because it's something that everybody can relate with, probably. Or you may have an introverted child, so you'll be able to relate with it. So rather than seeing the positive of it, I now was looking at only the negative. So when I realized that it was a strength, I had to change my mindset and reorientate myself. I had to understand my values and beliefs and emotions. Sometimes when we talk about values, beliefs, we just say, oh, I'm a Christian, I have Christian values. Which of the Christian values are close to you? What are the things that are important to you? What is the highest value in your life? Is it money? Is it family? Is it power? What are the things that you pay attention to? What are the things that spark your interest? These are things that you should know, that no one else should be telling you about yourself all the time. But you've decided by yourself that I will sit with myself, have an honest conversation with myself. I will tell myself the truth about where I am currently, not where I wish I was. Most of the time when we lie to ourselves, when we take these assessments or someone tells us to take a quiz, we're not taking a quiz today, we'll take a quiz tomorrow. But when we're taking these quizzes and all these things, we don't come fully prepared to be transparent and vulnerable with ourselves. So we are filling them with the perception that, oh, I should be the best version of myself, so I should speak positively. No, speak really. This is where I am. I don't make decisions quickly. I procrastinate. I don't know how to manage time. That self awareness will save you. But if you are lying to yourself, you cannot grow, because I have to accept the fact that time management is not good enough for me, is not good with me, then I'll be able to manage. I have to accept the fact that when I write my handwriting, my mother would say, when I write Daokoro, D is in Nigeria and A is in Australia. That means I'm writing in such a fast way. I have to accept the fact that I need to work on my handwriting in order for me to do it. That my handwriting is not the best. But I'm not looking at just the negative aspects of it. I'm not saying don't improve your weaknesses. We are not neglecting our weaknesses, but we're not spending 100% of our time on our weaknesses that we fail to look at our strengths. What are the things that come naturally to you? What are the things that you love doing when no one is watching? The things that that you can wake up in the middle of the night and you don't have any stress doing. Some people are good public speakers. Some people hate it. They need to work on it. Some people are good when it comes to organizing and planning events. Some people want to be the MC and host and they know how to organize and bring people together. There are certain people that they are the life of the party. If they are not there, nobody else is going to have fun. Everybody has things that come naturally to them. What's yours? Self awareness is key. Then, continuous learning. The concept of personal growth encompasses several key elements, and one key element that I love about personal growth is continuous learning. Now, when I finished my second master's and I had to take a gap year, which ended up being a gap 10 years, because I wanted to take a gap year, I realized that although I wasn't going to school within the four walls of a school, I still needed to be learning. Now, this continuous learning was not determined by any curriculum, but the curriculum that I created by, as a Christian, trusting God and speaking to the Holy Spirit, and then saying, you know me better than myself. What are the areas you want me to learn? So I started attending stationery workshops. I started attending branding workshops, learning about social media, going on webinars. You have the internet, watching YouTube videos, learning things by myself, both paid and free learning, buying more books. I have more books than shoes. My books can fill a wardrobe and I would still need space. That's just what I had to do. So I did this on my own, first of all. Then I met people that were on the same journey with me. I started doing Reconcilers Radio. The reason I could do Reconcilers Radio within a week was because I had spent 2.5 years learning and improving myself. Now, so there's a quote I have fallen in love with, and everybody can write the quote if you are listening. As it takes effort to do things effortlessly. And this is what it means. When I started presenting on the radio station, the topics and the things that I was coming up with, it seemed that it was effortless. But no one could see the years behind what I was doing. Some people play basketball and you're like, wow, the day of the match, they are fantastic. But people don't see the work behind what they are doing. They don't see the things behind the scenes. And that's the truth. When you are working, when you are doing certain things, no one understands it. But when you're doing your continuous learning, you understand that this is what I want to learn. This is what I want to read. It may not be related to my job, but I have decided that this is a path that I will take, and then you invest in that part and you attend to it. If you make a commitment to your commitment, you keep that commitment. So it's not just formal education. Formal education is wonderful, but there are the informal education parts that you like. Did you like sewing? Do you want to go back for sewing classes? Do you want to just do something that would make your brain work? There's something called a third place, and a third place is a place you go to that is there's no barrier to entry in a way, but there's no barrier that is preventing you from passing or failing. So you're not doing it for academic pursuits, you're just doing it for the pleasure of being creative. As individuals that were created to create, we need to have a place we go to where we can just be free and not judged. And that place can be where we can grow. Shola Labi always says competence builds confidence. There are these little things that you can do that will build the confidence that you need to thrive where you are. But it starts with you deciding by yourself that you want to do involve in your CL, continuous learning. No one will have to remind you to read those books. How do you choose your books? I said I was going to talk about how you can choose things, but it should start with your interest. When you see certain videos, what are the videos that stop you from scrolling on TikTok or on Instagram? What are the things that come up on your feed? Whatever it is, invest your time. Sometimes we don't have the financial resources to do certain things, but one resource we have is time. See, time, they say time is money, and it's not a joke. You have 24 hours in a day. How many hours are you going to invest in your continuous learning? That's up to you. And when you make that appointment with yourself to say every day between 5 to 7, I will do XYZ, you keep that appointment. If you're listening, this is a quote I will say, your continuous learning is your responsibility, no one else's responsibility. When you decide where you want to learn, you keep that appointment. You make an appointment with yourself and you keep the appointment. We talked about self-discipline before, and I think it's something that we will not really talk about today, but self-discipline, the power of you saying I will do something and doing it without anybody asking you to do it. That's self-discipline. And you need that as an adult, you need it as a child, you need it at any age you are. Setting goals, we always talk about setting smart goals. Yes, it's good to set goals, but your goals should not just be, I want to write a book, I want to do this. Set goals for different areas of your life. If you're looking at your intellectual or your emotional intelligence part, that's part, an aspect you want to invest in, then set a goal for that. If it's your career, set a goal. Relationships with family and friends. What I've started doing now, my family and friends will be surprised. I started putting people's names on my calendar because I will forget to call. Once I'm invested in something and I'm reading and this, and I forget every single thing. So now I started putting names on my calendar that I have to call. So I get the reminder, you have to call this person today. So when I'm writing my list the night before I see it, I say, oh, yes, I will call. Then the next day I call. That's a goal because I want to improve relationships. Personal development goals, we just talked about that, so we will not talk about them. Then this is something we have to emphasize. Sometimes we give up when we should pause. We come across challenges, we come across roadblocks, we come across things that prevent us from moving forward, and we just abandon ship completely. We go off track, we get on board another train, and we abandon ship. Challenges are meant to make you tougher. Challenges are meant to make you to think on your feet. Challenges are meant to make you the best version of yourself. Embrace challenges. Don't see them as the end of everything. It did not work out, but there are certain things you are learning from it, and you can learn and you should learn. Sometimes we don't want to move forward because certain things have prevented us, but we need that resilience and adaptability in the face of difficulty. In order to build strength and character, I won't be say I am the person I am because of the challenges that I have experienced and I am experiencing. So although it may look like it's effortless, but there are challenges that we face on the road, on the journey, that we need to embrace. We don't need to abandon ship. We need to find a way, a constructive way that helps us see setbacks and obstacles as opportunities for growth. And the truth is this: when you're going through it, you will never see it as an opportunity for growth. You will just be like, God, why me? You will not want it to happen. You will wish it could stop. You would want to wish it away. But sometimes face that challenge. When I say pause, don't stop, this is what I am saying. Pause and reflect. Don't wait till the challenge becomes too big and then 3 months down the line you realize that it was a major challenge. But by pausing and reflecting, you have the ability to overcome challenges and learn from them. Pausing and reflecting makes you learn from challenges, not to repeat the same mistake again. Documenting your challenges, documenting your growth, having a way to write things down, it helps you grow. And that's the truth. So many times we think that when we have challenges, we should just abandon it completely. That means I'm not meant to do it. Sometimes you are meant to learn a lesson. And when you face something in the future, you'll be like, this is small. We need to build that tough skin. As an introvert, as a retired people pleaser, this point is very, very important. Expanding comfort zones. Some of us have not stepped out of what is familiar to us. We are within a box. We don't think about it, any other thing. Sometimes when it comes to your personal growth, it's about expanding your comfort zone. And I'll use myself as an example. I will never have gone into a leadership position if I was forced to do it. But I fell into it, and then I was able to gradually expand my comfort zone. So as I lead a team, as I do whatever I am doing, it's not because I wanted to, it's because I fell into it. I would never have expanded my comfort zone if I knew what was in front of me when I started asking social media managers to work with me. I will say, oh, I'm not your leader. Even when I started the Bible study that I host virtually, I'll be like, I'm not the head. I never wanted that kind of thing. Now I had to do it by force. I had to get out of my comfort zone. That means I have to start reading books on leadership, listening to podcasts on leadership, expanding my own. Hey, expand. I heard noise. That's why I made that noise. Expanding my own horizon and then getting out of my way. Because especially as an introvert, speaking in public is not something I ever wanted to do. I can speak with my friends. When I'm with my family and friends, I can talk, especially if I trust you. But getting out of my comfort zone made me realize that I had a voice. I found my voice, and that has now set me on a career path that I would never have chosen. Expanding your comfort zone does amazing things to you. What are the things that you feel, that you fear, that you feel that you need to confront? Write them down, because growth often occurs when individuals stretch themselves. Stretch yourself, confront your fears or limitations. If your fear or limitation is writing, start writing social media posts, start writing blog posts, start writing things every day, write in your journal. If it's recording, start recording videos. I always say this: before, I think it's as far back as 2012, if you want to go for a job interview, start recording yourself and watching yourself playing it back. Now I was listening to someone talk about public speaking, and he said the same thing. I said it never occurred to me that this could also apply to public speaking, because people say speak in front of the mirror, but I said we can record and play back. If your own is fear of public speaking and you don't want anybody to know you are trying to master this craft, watch videos, record yourself, play it back. What did you like about your voice? Put it on mute. What did you like about your body language? And I learned that from somebody. But you're learning from yourself. But expanding your comfort zone is this: building healthy relationships. Now, personal growth doesn't mean that you are doing it on your own. For example, with the commitment circle that we're building, we are helping people to grow on their own personal growth, but also grow as a community, because it takes a village. Even as Christians, we say we are one body in Christ. What the hand can do, the leg cannot do. So when you're building relationships, you're nurturing connections with others, you're networking, you're fostering positive interactions. I have been able to do this despite the fact that I want to remain indoors totally, but I've still been able to build intentional relationships. So when you want to build healthy relationships start with you being healthy with yourself. You cannot expect people to be the ones to give you this healthy relationship. You give yourself that, and then you have an opportunity for the self-reflection that you've done to be felt by others. Self-care, we won't talk so much about this, but when you talk about your well-being, sometimes when we talk about personal growth, we ignore self-care. Like I said, I have to intentionally take breaks now. I have to intentionally schedule certain things. I talk about self-care, but I am the one that is not good at eating healthy, stress management. I can do self-reflection. Exercise and I are still fighting. It's something I want to work on, and I know once I put my mind to it, I can do it. Now, why am I saying all these things? When you're focused on your personal growth, don't ignore your body, move your body. Don't ignore self care. Take care of yourself. Self care is not just about lighting candles, soaking in the bathtub, going to the spa once a year. No, it's the practices you do daily. See, this body that you have, take care of it because you only have one. Stress management, self reflection, all these things that will prevent you from that you say you don't have the time for, create the time. And this brings me to reflecting and evaluating. When we do certain things, we fail to reflect. We don't reflect, we don't evaluate, we just do. Now, one thing we do every week we have what we call the week ahead on Sunday evenings, where we sit down, reflect on the past week, and plan for the next week. We do it on LinkedIn, but I think I would also do it on these platforms. But most of the time, we don't sit down to reflect. We just go through Monday to Sunday, Monday to Sunday, Monday to Sunday, like that till the year ends. There is no time to reflect and evaluate. The only way you know if you are growing is if you evaluate yourself. How do you evaluate yourself? Because you have a start point and you have an end point, and you now find out the milestones you want to use to measure your growth. Remember what I said. If you and I are having this conversation 6 months from today, where will you want to be? If money was not a problem, time was not a problem, who do you want to be? You can only know if you've reached that position, that place you've defined, if you are reflecting and evaluating. Now, we've talked about a little bit about the concept of personal growth, but why is it important? And I will just talk about these points one after the other. Empowerment is not about empowering women, empowering children, it's empowering yourself. Empowering yourself to be the best version of yourself, understanding that you are investing in yourself and investing in your future. When you think about personal growth, when you think about what you want to do with yourself, you have to think about it as uplifting yourself, improving yourself, empowering yourself in every area of your life, and you're not waiting for others to empower you. So many times we look at the country, we look at the world, we are upset with the way things are going, that we don't invest in ourselves, and we're waiting for the government, we're waiting for the church, we're waiting for our parents, we're waiting for others to empower us. But if we don't take accountability for our actions, which brings us to the next option, and empower ourselves, we don't go anywhere. Will remain in the same position, crying out in 10 years' time. The same things you're complaining about, you'll be complaining about in 10 years' time if you don't empower yourself. Self empowerment is good. And it's not about pride, it's not about arrogance, it's about understanding that there is something that you need to be, or there's someone that you can be if only you put in the time. That's what I'll say about that. Accountability, we've talked a little bit about it, we'll talk more about it. And it's about understanding, taking action, taking responsibility for your actions. Self-awareness and growth. When you're aware of yourself and you are able to determine where you want to grow, then your growth is not just financially. Sometimes mental growth, the intellectual growth, your capacity is built. Every single thing. Adaptability and flexibility. There are certain people that if you drop anywhere in the world, they will thrive. Anywhere in the world you drop them, they will thrive. But there are some people that will not. So when we're talking about adaptability and flexibility, when you are able to understand that setbacks are not the end, but they are an opportunity for you to think of a new way to adapt to your environment. You are flexible. You're not doing things. It's not your way or the highway. You have that flexibility to grow. You have the flexibility you need. It brings for you. I don't know about you, so I would say for me, it gives me this personal fulfillment. The personal fulfillment I got with writing my book was not because people bought copies, but because I completed the book. It gave me this fulfillment, this joy, this peace that nothing could take from me, that my intellectual property was in paper. Now, if I had not started improving myself because it was a journey that took longer than I anticipated, I wouldn't have gotten that personal fulfillment from it. Independence and autonomy, it's still subject to debate, but it gives you this autonomy and control of your own life, especially your personal growth. No one else is responsible for your growth. And I will pause and go on YouTube to see if we have a few questions. So we've got Bolanle, Gambit topic. Um, I've seen a couple of people I haven't seen in a while. Today, I just decided to send a message, a broadcast style, before I went live. So, thank you all for joining. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We'll have an opportunity to have questions answered. And it's an opportunity for us to all speak and see. And if you have a contribution, also put it in the chat. That would be great. Self accountability. I gave a brief introduction about self accountability when I started. I said it's taking ownership and accountability by yourself. You're not letting other people or blaming other people for your success or making them receive the accolades for your failures. Whatever happens, you realize that this life that you live is yours. So your name, and today I will take self accountability. I will take accountability for my actions and inactions. I'm just giving you ideas of how to start your journaling. So for me, self accountability has helped me. It has helped me realize that, okay, I wasn't doing a PhD again. I needed to look for something else to do. And I wasn't going to blame my health. I wasn't going to blame my doctors. I wasn't going to blame my anybody. But I needed to understand that rather than trying to look for a body that was perfect, I was going to work with the body that I had. So the imperfections, the invisible illnesses, every single thing combined together, that the doctors have said, oh, you will need a scribe to write for you. You won't be able to do this. They are giving me a list of things I won't be able to do. So I was like, okay, this is where I am. I want to grow gradually. I'm not going to try and grow overnight. But I had the luxury of growing at my own pace, which was fantastic for me. But I started with self accountability. So when you hear self accountability, what comes to your mind? This is a definition that would help you understand it. But it refers to the ability and willingness. So it's not just the ability, but you have to be willing to take responsibility for your actions, your decisions, and the outcomes. So it's not just the ability. There has to be a willingness. It's something active. You need to take responsibility for your actions, decisions, and outcomes. So I will add in actions, because sometimes when you take your actions, sometimes that there are sometimes that you did not act. So you're in actions too. But you're answering for the choices you made, your behaviors exhibited, and the results achieved. And when it comes to your growth, by fostering self awareness and promoting learning and driving positive change, this is what self accountability does. It plays a crucial role in these things. Now, why will I talk about it from this perspective? Why did I get these definitions on the screen? Because I wanted you to understand about the willingness aspect, to understand that you have to be willing. It's not something that will be done passive, it's not a passive activity, it's active. You have to be willing. And you have to be answerable for your choices, and not just your choices, your behavior. If you remember on day 5, for those that didn't join us for day 5 and 6, because we've been doing this for 30 days, countdown to 1st of July. But on day 5 and 6, we talked about the fact that when our attitude to work and our work ethics determine how we grow. The way you show up in little things is the way you show up in major things. So, for example, if your behavior towards a project was not a behavior of you giving 100%, and you know within your power that you did not do every single thing that you were supposed to do, your attitude to work was there, you did not give your full attention, you were distracted. That's why you did not achieve the results you wanted to achieve. You take ownership. I always tell my mentor that sometimes I've not done 100% of the things that you told me to do. I've done 50% and I've added my own 50% and I made a mistake. I go and I am vulnerable and I am able to grow because of that transparency. You need to be transparent with yourself in order to be self accountable. You need to be. You need to understand the role you've played in your goals not working. Was it because you just did not care about it? Were you watching movies? Were you just doing nothing? Was there an issue that happened at home that prevented you from doing what you were supposed to do? So was there an emergency? All these little things, when you are looking at why have you not achieved the goals you want to achieve this year, take full ownership. Say it with your chest. I think this you see it came over that said, if you want to talk to me direct. I'm talking to all of you directly now. If there's anything that you have not done, accept it. Don't say it's somebody else's fault. Some of us, our behaviors and our attitude to work is bad. When you work from home, you don't even give 1% of the energy you should. You do the minimal expected, you put the minimal expected effort into anything you are doing, and you believe when you start getting paid a better salary, you will improve. I have bad news for you, or rather, I have good news for you. The person you are today is the person you are going to be tomorrow. The way you um act in small things is the way you will act in big things. You don't change. Your character doesn't change. So when I'm talking about self accountability, I know I don't like preaching too much, but I'm saying this: let's stop blaming people when things don't go wrong. We need to assess our character. We need to assess our behavior. We need to assess our work ethics. We need to assess every single aspect of our lives, or else we're in trouble. We talk about the state of the nation, we talk about the state of the world. We have people exhibiting behaviors that are unethical. You say, oh, the people that make it now are the people that do the wrong things. We're celebrating mediocrity. Philip DeFranco will say, stop making stupid. But you are also making decisions that are not positioning you to win. You make a commitment to yourself, you don't keep that commitment. That's a behavioral problem. So you say, oh, I will do this. And no one knows when you're making that commitment to yourself. But then you don't do it because no one saw you when you were making that commitment. You feel all is well. No. When we make commitments to ourselves, even if no one knows about it, you know. So both of us are more afraid to let others down than we are to let ourselves down. So I say I'll wake up at 5 every morning to pray, for example. I don't wake up till 9, or I don't go to bed till 3 a.m. And then I start blaming other people for things that are not going well. But you've broken your promise to yourself consistently. That tells your inner man that you can't keep a word to yourself, that you're not accountable. Maybe I should stop preaching. That you can't keep a word to yourself, that you're not accountable. And you need to be accountable. You need to be accountable. You need to take action. Let's stop blaming everybody. I think you can listen to the old episodes on work ethics and all the other things. Let's stop blaming everybody but ourselves. If your behavior was not 100%, then say it. If as a student you know that you didn't give 100%, then say it. Okay, I've never talked about it. My first year in university, I try to read. I will say I did not play. I'm not someone that will play. But when I'm reading, I may be thinking of playing. But when I'm playing, I'm playing. When I'm reading, I'm reading. I focused that I didn't get the grades I wanted. My excuse was everybody failed. And of course, everybody failed that time, you see. But when I took ownership of my own learning, I realized that I couldn't read with other people. So when others are reading, I'm not there. I don't pull all nighters again. I had to start looking at the behaviors and everything I was doing subconsciously. I started getting 4 points. So I went from a 1 point to 4 points. Ow. Change in character, change in behavior. Changing one aspect of your life, your behavior, or your attitude to work, your work ethics will transform your life. You don't need to read another self-help book. This is the end of the story. You don't need anybody laying your hands on you. You don't need to go for an MRI. That change in character. Investing in your personal development is saying that I will read a book, and you will read that book, you will study that book, you will make notes. It's not about reading 50 books. Oh, I read 50 books this year. I listened to all the books on my list, and then nothing has transformed in your life. Take ownership. So taking ownership of your actions and decisions, this is what it means. And this is important, so I'm going to read word for word, so I won't paraphrase. Taking ownership of one's actions and decisions means recognizing that you have control over your choices and their consequences. It involves acknowledging that your decisions have an impact on your life and the lives of others. But by taking ownership, you actively accept responsibility for the outcome that results from your actions. I think I just realized I wasn't using my mic. Hope you people on YouTube and Facebook have been hearing me clearly because my mic was a bit far from me. It should be better now. So I'll read that again. Taking ownership of one's actions and decisions means recognizing that you have control over your choices and their consequences. It involves acknowledging that your decisions have an impact on your life and the lives of others. By taking ownership, You actively accept responsibility for the outcomes that result from your actions. And I think we're going to stop here today, because if I go through all the slides that I have, I'm not going to be okay. So it's supposed to be a 45 minutes session, 45 minutes daily, 40 minutes talking, 5 minutes question and answers, to see if we can get that. But we're going to continue from here tomorrow. And after that, we do our weekly reflection where you take ownership of your calendar, see what you did the previous week, and plan for the next week. So we call that the week ahead. It's going to be every Sunday at 9 p.m. I think it's an amazing opportunity. But I will just do a recap of what we've said today and see if we've got any questions. Now, taking ownership is not something that we can outsource. It's not something that is done passively. As a Christian, I always hear this word, guard your heart with all diligence. And you'll now hear the song by Travis Green is intentional. So I was like, intentional is a word, was my word for one of the years. I said, wait, that means I have to be intentional about guarding my heart with all diligence. And now I'm saying, let's take that scripture and bring it here. You have to be intentional about taking ownership of your actions and decisions. You have to recognize the power of choice that you have. You cannot outsource certain things. Some of us have transferred the ownership of our decisions to other people but ourselves. At work, yes, you are accountable to your lecturers. Fine. I said lecturers at school. At work, you have to answer to your boss. But the person answering to your boss is you. Your actions are determined by you. The choices we make and the choices we fail to make can make or break us. So when we are taking ownership of our actions and decisions, we are accepting, we are recognizing, it makes you understand that the consequences are good, are there. But it's not just you it affects. Think about it. The person that decides to build a house and the house uses substandard materials, it does the construction that the architect has given him, and he just does an haphazard job. That house collapses and lives are lost. So his action has impacted the lives of others. I use something that deep to make you understand that certain dreams you have, certain things that you want to do, are going to influence others. For example, if Reverend Vincent had not started Reconcilers Radio, I would never have done a Facebook Live in my life in 2016. His action to do a radio station made me start working at a radio station and eventually going live, because all I wanted to do was podcasting. And I started going live accidentally. Everything that happens to me is always by accident, because I've just positioned myself and I am just making myself available. How are you making yourself available for things that to happen to you or for you? Sometimes we want the world to do everything for us, but we don't want to do anything in return. If you can reflect on January to June and take ownership of your actions and inactions, your life will be transformed. So taking ownership of your actions is not a passive thing. It's not something that you can do by accident. It's not something anybody else can do for you. When things go wrong in your homes, in school, at work, before you blame the children, before you blame the government, what role did you play? And sometimes when it comes, the reason I'm so passionate about personal development and growth and things like that, because like I said, I was told I won't be able to do anything again. I will need a scribe to write for me for exams. They had already made up their mind, you're going to need a scribe. And I refused to get a scribe. But I didn't stop there. So what did I do? I took ownership of my own growth. I remember that time I would go to the ATM machine and I will not remember my PIN. And then I'll call my younger sister and say, what's the PIN again? She said, I've sent it to you. I had to take ownership. So when I worked in a call center, I will call the numbers, I will forget the number. There are things that I've had to start learning over and over again. Your own case may be different, but there's something about you just wanting. I want everybody to just list one thing. You can decide to share in the chat or share with me that you're going to take ownership of for today. From today, what actions are you going to take ownership for today? The choice is yours, but it's a choice you have to make. The choice not to do anything is also yours. The choice not to take notes is yours. The choice not to take action is yours. But we all have a choice to make. And I think I will end there today. But before I go, I'm just sure you're all aware, but I have a workshop coming up on the 1st of July 2023, and it's called The Reset. Now, The Reset is my response to people not achieving goals. I've worked with coaches, I've worked with people, and I see the potential in people dying. And they set goals at the beginning of the year, they don't accomplish them. Some people I add my strategy call because in 2015 or so, I did 50 strategy calls. So of them, if I check on them again, they are on the same position they were when they had that goal, that dream. So how do we hit the reset button and accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish? That's what the event is about. And the event is like my cousin did his website, but it just says leave the 80% who abandon their goals. Because according to Forbes, 80% of people abandon their goals, but there are 20% of people that are top achievers. I want you to be among those top achievers. So it's a 1 day workshop that is designed to help you build a personal productivity system. Now, in case you're wondering, what's a personal productivity system? A personal productivity system goes beyond goal setting, but it's a system that encompasses all the things you do to ensure you stay on track and you are growing as you set your goals. So you grow with your goals, like Doyin will say, and it move in the right direction. So we've got a couple of ways you could register. So you can sign up for the reset now. If you just click on that button, you should be fine. But for Nigeria, because you can't use your card on different platforms, we've created the website where you can just sign up from Nigeria and it will lead you to that website. So for the rest of the world, you click this one, and for those from Nigeria, you click this one. But what are we going to be discussing at the reset? It's in okay, registration ends in 2 days. Wow. Okay, I'll see if we can get an extension. But it's a 1 day workshop, is virtual, so you're joining from the comfort of your home. We're going to look at the past 6 months and plan for the next 6 months. That's basically what it is. And you create your personal productivity system. So it's not just about setting goals, but creating a system that ensures that you accomplish your goals. And we'll be launching the commitment circle, which is a platform that would help you stay on track. So it's an amazing day. July 1st it is for me, but I will still be here every day before July 1st doing this session, having an amazing conversation with you on how to set goals that you finish. So tomorrow we'll continue the conversation on taking ownership of your goals, and then we'll do a quiz. So to see where you are when it comes to taking ownership of your goals. I like doing these quizzes. Maybe this time around I will give you the quiz questions to go home. I may not. But I like doing these quizzes because they make you see where you are, know where you think you are. And then we end with the week ahead. But if there are no questions, comments, or feedback, I would like to end today's session. I don't want it to get to 1 hour, but thank you so much for staying with me today. I had an amazing time talking on today's topic. I've been doing this for 24 days. We've got 6 more days. And on the 3rd of July, I will tell you the plan for July, how often I will go live. However, every Sunday, you find me here talking about how to plan for your new week. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Cheers. Bye.